Shabbat Shalom. This week, on April 4th, our country will commemorate the 35th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King, a proponent of nonviolence, was killed, ironically, in a most violent act. In our country, we like to focus on the "I Have a Dream" speech, Dr. King's courage and vision in facing the dangers around him while he clung to a higher hope, a higher dream. I wonder what he would say 35 years later upon reflecting on the statistics of violence in our country today, and more specifically, the preponderance of gun violence in the African American community. The past few weeks, I attended the funeral service of a 6-month-old baby who was killed in a car with her father. The assailant clearly wanted to do away with the father, but shot the child by accident. It was one of the most horrific events that I've ever attended. The pain on the parents' faces, the cries within the community shot through my heart. Listening to the pastors encourage their community to turn their lives around, to separate themselves from guns and violence, was stirring indeed. But the reality is that it will take more than a sermon to change the situation. In order for us to reverse this violent trend in our society, we as a nation have to pause and reflect on how to go forward and approach the issues in a holistic way. I was thinking that this week we'll also be reading from the book of Leviticus, the portion of Shmini, when Aaron's 2 sons, Nadav and Avihu, are killed on the day of dedication of the Mishkan, the indwelling place of God. The Torah only records that they brought in an Ashazara, a strange fire, and for that they were killed. No other real comment about what was the cause. The rabbis do talk about this in the Midrashic literature, and what's fascinating is that they see in Nadav and Avihu the essence of arrogance. According to the Midrash, Nadav and Avihu had the arrogance to think about taking over for Moses and Aaron and were counting the days to their death or retirement. According to another Midrash, these 2 young men never married. They wouldn't give their love to anyone else, nor did they have children, and this was seen as an act of horrible arrogance. And for that, they were worthy of death. I would suggest to you that there is a certain arrogance in our country. The notion that if an issue doesn't affect us or our community, somehow we don't have to take it seriously. We're wrong. And that, I think, is the message that God sent to Nadav and Avihu, that arrogance brings with it significant consequences. So too, in our society today, as the numbers grow and the mass shootings continue, and yet we as a society are unwilling to come together to discuss the larger issues. Jewish law and Jewish thought have much to say on guns and violence. And so I invite you to come this Shabbat morning to hear a sermon on the rabbinic views of gun violence, and then attend a discussion after Kiddush with members of our community so that we might learn the Jewish approach and ways to be involved and ways to prevent funerals such as the one that I attended in these past weeks for a 6-month-old child. Shabbat Shalom.